Here we are with the suit of wands. We have four people represented by it, and the suit of wands is ruled by the element of fire. Therefore, the energies or the people, the court cards represented in this suit, represent those type of attributes. Wands people are charismatic, they're often very attractive, and they draw people to them. They can be very inspiring and persuasive. They also have their faults where they may change their minds in the blink of an eye. But they will always talk their way out of whatever problem that they're in. Very, very good at that. If it's an energy you're looking at, look at those types of energy attributes. If your querent does not recognize the person that you're trying to describe. Now, the Wands court cards often represent people who are light-haired, blonde or red hair, light-colored eyes, but, that is not cast in stone, because my brother, a Leo, that is part of the Wands suit, is very dark-haired. The same with my sister, So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I tell the difference? Well, you need to go into your intuition or your clairvoyance and see if you can start putting together some kind of a picture of what this person actually looks like. So if you like to read by coloring only and not even worry about the suit attributes as far as fire and the coloring things and just look at the energy, that's one way to do it. The wands traditionally represent the suits of Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. Those are the three astrological signs that are associated with the wands. Let's take a look at the king. The king is very, like we said before, creative, inspiring. He can be very forceful. Wands people can be very forceful, and if you're in an argument with them, you better be prepared to back down because you may not win. They're not bad people for that, but you have to really hold your own with a wand person. They're usually courageous. They usually will go out on a limb. They may jump in where angels fear to tread. These are attributes of the wands. Now, I did not mention a couple things with the cups, and that is that oftentimes, you may be black or reading somebody who's black. So what do you do? I mean, the wand's coloring definitely doesn't fit that person. So here's a tip for those of you who are Afro-American and reading someone else. Go by the energy. Just go by the energy attributes. You're taking a look at somebody who's bold. Let's take a look at the king. Charismatic. They're very forceful. The king may really demand in either a quiet way or a very, very verbal way what he wants to see done or have done. The king is very noble in the wand suit. He truly does epitomize the king sitting on the throne. If this king comes into a reading and the sun sign might be Leo, then this person is the benevolent ruler, but please bow down to me. They do not like to be criticized. They will definitely demand that people see things their way, and sometimes they're a little rigid in their outlook, but underneath it all is usually a good heart, a very big heart, and a generous person. So they have to be worked with carefully. If they happen to be a family member, then somebody already knows how to work with that family member, but they know exactly what I'm talking about. If the person that this card represents someone in their life that's a male, mature male. All the kings represent mature males, and they will recognize those attributes. All right, we get into the Queen of Wands, and she is what I call one of the mother cards. Now, in the suits, I will mention that some of the suits are more apt to be married people, and some are either single or divorced. Again, nothing is cast in stone. There's no set rule about it. But I very often view the Queen of Wands as a married person. She could be a homemaker or she could be out in the world working. She has a big heart. She's generous, but she, again, only sees things, in her perspective and doesn't have a whole lot of room to include other people's perspective. But she is a good listener, and she's a good advisor, and she sees things pretty clearly. There's no vacillating. It's either one way or another. She can be somewhat mysterious, but not nearly as mysterious as the Queen of Cups. But there is an inborn intuition there that she just seems to know things. She knows things before you even say them. So she has a lot of insights, and this might be a person who's very creative, is a wonderful homemaker, might be on a lot of volunteer committees, but maybe wants to rule the committee, really has a heart that wants to share, very generous. If the Queen of Wands comes up and you know that person represents a Sagittarius, for example. Sagittarians are so generous, they'll practically give you the shirt off their back, but then they expect you to be very, very, grateful for that. You should express it, most definitely. But, they'll give away quite a lot. And they have a very broad outlook, and they're very interested in all sorts of people types and people from all over the world. So there is your Queen of Wands. If you recognize her in a reading, she's usually a very, very good person to have in your corner. If she comes up reversed, then you know that there's some problems. The forcefulness might move into a rigidity that is not movable, and might be prone to gossip, or rather than helping people, she's always undermining people. But again, that's going to be up to you if you choose to read the cards reversed. Again, I always notice and put in the back of my mind, if a card comes up reversed, then I turn it upright for me. The Knight of Wands is a very interesting card. It can represent a move, an actual physical move, or a move of some type, or real fiery movement. If it's an energy card, if it represents, this card comes up and represents an actual person, it could be saying, hey, there is something, an opportunity. Remember, wands have to do with enterprise projects, opportunities ruled by the sun, something very good coming into the Aquarian's life. But it's going to be pretty rapid in nature, and it's almost like jump on it right now, because the window's open, the door is open, the window of opportunity is here, so act on it now. The Knight, if he does, or he or she does represent a love affair or a lover, you may have to really watch this person, because the Knight is a little more unstable. Often in a reading, if a Knight comes up that is a Wands Knight, I will really go within and take a look at that card for a possible relationship. Is this person one of these people who is highly fickle and here today, gone tomorrow? They represent a great amount of passion, but it may be the kind of passion that doesn't last. So, the caution here is this person legit? Do they really mean what they say? Are they just being carried away at the moment, by events that are going on, love, passion, sex, all of that? And will they be there a month or 6 months from now? You really have to take a look at that with the Knight of Wands. But again, the movement is fairly rapid, and that there is an opportunity here, but one must proceed with caution with the Knight of Wands. If it represents a move, then you'll get a sense that someone is either just moved or is about to move. The other move card is the Eight of Cups in the Cup suit. So that's just a little tip that I'm going to give you. Does the Knight of Wands always tell lies and isn't authentic? No, that's not always the case. But again, one must proceed with caution. If the Knight does represent one of the three fire sign suits, and, can they sustain what it is that they've started, because they're really famous for not finishing what they start. When we get to, I'm going to separate this card by putting them all together. The Page of Wands is one of the messenger or the messenger card of the tarot deck. Now, this card could represent a young person, a boy or a girl into the early 20s, a young man, young woman. And then it moves into the Knight energy, older than that, and then it may move into the King and Queen as mature people. But this Knight is a person who's very smart, very creative. Even as a child, they may be light-haired, or if they're not, then you look at the energies of the card. Very often this card does represent there is a message immediately forthcoming in the very near future. It can come in any form, from a phone call to an email to a letter to a card, but there is some sort of message coming. It may even come in a dream or be sent by one of your spirit guides. And you really need to pay attention, because it does have to do about forthcoming opportunities. This page card also can represent the seeds of something new beginning to sprout. You can look at the leaves, at the top of his staff, and something that is really just below the surface that's soon to be revealed, that's going to pop up its little head just like a little shoot in the springtime. And so it's very carefully cultivating its garden of seeds, because there is something that is going to be made apparent very, very soon. And again, it's about opportunity, and something needs to be paid attention to or acted upon. And so this page is a very wonderful card to come up in a reading if somebody is needing to hear news about something in their lives. Because if that is the question that has been asked, for example, am I going to hear from the company that I just interviewed with? Are they interested in me? And this Page of Wands comes up, then you can tell your querent, yeah, you're going to be getting some kind of a message here pretty soon. If it comes up reversed, then you might want to say, after you've checked with your own intuition, maybe you're not going to hear from them. And, I always like to give people, the other side of the coin, and give them uplifting news. Is if you don't hear from them, don't worry about it. Maybe you had your heart set on this particular job, but there is a better job forthcoming. We never leave anybody feeling down or defeated or deflated, because there's a reason in this universe for everything. Everything is in divine and right order, so we need to learn to be patient. The Wands people are not known for their patience. They want it, and they want it now. So, for example, I have a friend who is a fire sign, and, she gets me a little gift for Christmas, and, but she can't wait. She brings it to me and wants me to open it right then and there. That's a Wands person. They just can't wait. It's got to be now, or it's got to be like yesterday, So if you understand these things about the Wands people, you'll get along with them a lot better. So there's an overview of the court cards for the Wands.